everybody, welcome to Week in Review. I'm Tom Vasel, and this is a video that we do each week that talks about all the videos we did over the past week. It's an index so that you can hear these real short snippets and then decide if you want to go watch the whole thing. Let's go.
Hey everybody, Zee Garcia here. Here's what I did last week. So I did a Citadel's comparison, comparing the brand new printing of it to two previous printings from 2016. Check that out if you want to see what's in the new one, what it looks like. I also did Unsung Gems U, covering 5 games that begin with the letter U, of course, that I think are undervalued and need a little more love. And then I did a couple of reviews. So I did a group review of Now or Never, and I rated it an 8 out of 10. I think it's a very interesting game mechanically. It feels sort of like Ryan Locket's, the designer's greatest hits compilation. Lots of interesting things that he's done elsewhere in many cases, but they come together really, really nicely. Though the game, I think, is too long, and especially when you're playing with the story mode, will take you a very long time. So I recommend the game at a lower player count. You can solitaire the game, or you can play at 2. That's kind of where I'm happy with it, at 2 players. And then I reviewed, well, Sobek, 2 players. How about that? And I also rate that an 8 out of 10. Sobek is a re-implementation, reworking of the original card game, simply called Sobek. And that one, you just had cards that you were collecting and then selling sets of those things. And this new one, only for 2 people, there is a spatial element to it as well. So you're going to have a flop of tiles you can move around in specified directions. You're going to be limited as to what you can take, but you are collecting tiles, you are hiring characters, you are selling sets of things, trying to get the most victory points. The game, like the original, has a corruption mechanism, but I think this one handles it in a more interesting way. Instead of smacking the most corrupt player back down the victory points, it rewards the one who is least corrupt. And mentally, that just feels a little bit better. So I think I ultimately like this one better than the original Sobek card game. And that's going to do it for me. I will see you on the next one.
Hey there everybody, it's Mike DeLisio, and this week I was involved in a couple of videos. First I did a Catch-a-Palooza for 51st State Master Set, so if you're interested on my thoughts on that game, this is one I had played before, you can check that out. And then I was also part of a 4 Squares review for the new Ryan Locket game, Now or Never. I gave this a 7 out of 10. I feel like it is a game that I can definitely recommend, that's where the 7 comes in. But there's some caveats, and that's why it's not higher, like an 8 or an 8.5. My main concerns are that the game is extremely long. So I really consider this to be a 1 or a 2-player game. It takes up a lot of table space, that's another issue, but what I like a lot. I love the combat system. I feel like the mechanics of the game remind me of the things that I like about Near and Far, and even some aspects of Islebound. If it was a little bit shorter and had a more viable 4-player mode, I might even rate it higher, but still can recommend it with that 1 to 2 player count caveat. Right, that's it for me this week. Let's keep it moving.
All right, so I did a comparison video of 2 games. Metro Big Box was one of them. That one I'm giving a 5 to, because that is not a good reprint. I like Metro. It's a decent game, and it can fit in a box the size of Ticket to Ride. This is twice the size. All the content could have fit in a smaller one. That's not the point. The point is they make this frame that goes around the outside of the board, doesn't stay in place, moves around, ruins the whole game. Blech. And I like it, the game, but not what they did. Now or Never. We did a 4 Square review on this game from Ryan Lockett, the newest one, the sequel to Near and Far and Above and Below, and it does feel like those in many ways, but I'm giving this one a 6 out of 10. There's some things about it I like. I love the combat system. I like the stories, but it is way too long. And there's a bunch of mechanical things in it which I was not as excited about. It just didn't mesh for me as good as the other games. However, my ranking was the lowest one, so check everyone else's out. Pessoa. This is a Portuguese poet. That's what this is based on. Really cool idea. You play one of his heteronyms, not a pseudonym. That's because he says his pseudonyms were like actual different voices. So you're like jumping in his head and out. It's a cool theme. It's a cool idea. Great production. But the game itself was okay. So 6 out of 10. Doomlings is a game that I reviewed with my kids. This is kind of a take that. That's a little take that in it. But you're building a tableau of cards in front of you, getting different traits. Really cute artwork, great cards, fun combos. This is not the kind of game that I normally like, but in this case, I found it to be enjoyable. 7 out of 10. A couple kids games specifically that I reviewed. Ubongo Jr. I gave this one a 7 out of 10. Ubongo itself is about putting down different tiles on a grid, matching them. Same thing here, but for kids with animals on them. It works really well. And City Chase. This is a Scotland Yard style game for kids. One person is a car getting away from the police. Everyone else's helicopter is chasing him. Everyone closes their eyes. You hide where the car is. You have to figure it out. Very simple game, but teaches some complex stuff later on. Fun for kids, 7 out of 10. Scope Stalingrad. This is a small little card game, back and forth, that people will play. I like this one. It feels almost like a Stratego-esque game where you have snipers shooting at each other, and every time your sniper shoots, you have to give a clue a little bit to where they are. Pretty cool game, 7.5. I mentioned the 2 reprints. The other reprint was Star Realms. Star Realms comes in a decent-sized box, all that you need, nice components, a board, nothing really grandiose. It just works well, and Star Realms is a good deck-building game, 8 out of 10. The Key, Theft in Cliffrock Villa. This is in the Key series of games, logic deduction games. As a bunch of cards are out, and you're going to use these cards to figure out who done it. And I like this series. This is on the simpler side of the series, but still great game, 8.5. Welcome to the Moon. Welcome to the Moon is in the Welcome To series, but it's great. It's in space, but it has like a campaign method you can play through, but it also has, you can play through the campaign, but there are 8 different ways to play it. It's like having 8 games in one box. And I like the Welcome To series, so it's worth checking out. 8.5 out of 10. I also started a publisher series, or restarted it from years ago, where I'm going to go through various publishers once a week and take a look at my favorite games from them. This week was Tasty Minstrel Games. And of course, our A-team did their top 10 most played games. We did a couple board game breakfasts, crowd surfing, and Q&A. I took a look at a couple more shelves in the Dice Tower library, and more on our channel. So that's what we did this week. I'm Tom Vasel, and this has been Week in Review on the Dice Tower.